Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dale Caldwell, your host for Family Business Friday. And we are honored to have someone who's becoming a friend, and I'm getting to know Miguel Lloyd, owner and CEO of Lloyd Media Group. We have become national on this call. Miguel is based in Atlanta. How are you doing this morning?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Good. Looking forward to your presentation. And we're going to talk about marketing. And so as we're starting to reopen, you'll see from some of my slides from the governor, we are moving rapidly soon. In the next few weeks, we're going to open up fully or close to fully. I'm saying that it'll be the new normal with a mask. So how do you market in this new environment? How do you move forward? So we're going to learn a lot today. But let me go through, as I always do, I introduce people to the Institute and kind of set the stage as to where we are. So one, for those that don't know us, where our mission is to support, promote, and research entrepreneurship with a special focus on family and veteran businesses. We wouldn't exist without our sponsors, the TD Bank Charitable Foundation, Provident Bank, Sun Trust, which will soon be known as Truist, CIA and J are our main sponsors, and we have a lot of supporters. Our programs include our student entrepreneurship programs that we've been doing for 30 years. We're part of, we have something called FDU Pitch, and then part of the State University Pitch, where we help budding entrepreneurs develop business plans and possibly get some funding for their business plans. We have a Family Business Alliance. Again, it's been around about 30 years, where we work directly with family businesses to help them with coaching, as well as some informative sessions, as well as mentoring and consulting. We have the Family Business Awards. This year will be our 28th Family Business Awards, so we're excited about that, where we honor the best family businesses in New Jersey. We have a program called Veterans Launching Ventures, which is going on now. It's a national program that goes on about 4 times a year, where we help veterans or immediate family members of veterans develop a business plan so that they can become entrepreneurs. And we have a small business series in which we have some amazing speakers that's been around about 5 years. Just a little more about these, but one of the things that we're most proud of is last year we started something called Family Business Week. And as you know, American Express has the Shop Small Saturday. We believe that family businesses, which are largely about 80% of the global economy, are so important that every day people should identify and support a family business. But during this week, which is the 4th week in October, right around when we have our Family Business Awards, we want people to identify and support and celebrate a family business. I had pizza, my daughter and I had pizza, and we went to a place and asked if they were family businesses. They were so proud that we would ask them that question. And we've started something called Shop Family, where people can buy cards, gift cards, to really support businesses. I have a TV show called Family Business World, which airs on rvn.tv every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. We're looking for new family business guests or people who serve family businesses. So if you have some recommendations, let us know. The best way to reach us is at Rothman, ROTHMAN, @fdu.edu. Here are Family Business Fridays. As I said, we're going to continue this throughout the year. Now, it's important to know we are going to take next Friday off for the July 4th holiday. So the next time we get together will be in 2 weeks. So next Friday, we won't be having this. This is our Veterans Launching Ventures program, which is really becoming one of the best veteran entrepreneurship programs in the country. And our website for that is www.veteranbusinessworld. We also have a YouTube channel, Rothman Institute of Entrepreneurship. Check that out. We have about more than 100 videos. It can be very helpful as you grow your business. I am a member of Governor Murphy's New Jersey Restart and Recovery Advisory Council, where we're getting advanced information about what's opening up. And the good news, things are starting to open up. You know, the bad news is there's still a crisis, and there's still many businesses that are closed here in New Jersey and across the country. One of the things, and I show this and I'm going to continue to show this, to really show that in the 2009, 2010, the 700,000 was the peak of unemployment because it was a large business unemployment. Now with the small business unemployment, we're upwards of a total of 40 million people that are unemployed. And if you look at at where we are, during the Great Depression in 1933, 24.9% of the population was unemployed. We're approaching that now in this nation. That it's 22.8. I think it's about 23% are unemployed. And that's really because of the small business crisis, because of small businesses. So it shows you how important small businesses are and how important what you do is and how important what we're talking about is. This in the context of states are the unemployment rate by state. Miguel is in Georgia, and you see Georgia actually relatively is doing much better than New Jersey. And I think it's even higher, getting higher now. So this is a significant national crisis. And one of the reasons this happens, and I show this, is that most businesses are under 100 employees. You look at small business, about 70% are under 100 employees, 20% are under 500 employees, and only 10% are over 500, yet the political and other attention is given to those large businesses. So with that, and so one of the things we see with this that I've learned in the New Jersey Restart is just some of the information about cash flow. So if you look at this, I know it's a little blurry, it's hard to see, but you're looking at the blue here that 20% of the businesses in May and now 31% in June have 1 to 2 months of operating cash. 13 to 21% have 3 months of operating cash. But look at the others. The green has 3 to 4 weeks, yellow 1 to 2 weeks, orange 2 to 7 days. The red has no operating cash. So this is a cash flow crisis. This is a cash flow crisis. So as we talk about marketing, we understand and we feel your pain that a lot of you are really struggling with cash. So what's happening? So we had heard, outdoor dining's opened up. Outdoor pools are supposed to be opened up. Youth summer camps have opened up. Gatherings of 100 or more people. It's now coming up to 500 people. There's some talk in mid-July they're going to open casinos and have some indoor restaurants. So that all depends on what's going on with health. And so then looking at, and there seems to be quite a willingness of people to really wear face masks. And I like to say that the new normal will be the normal with face masks. But clearly we're learning from other states how important it is to really wear your face mask. Many of you heard in Texas that they are actually reclosing the state down because they didn't take the crisis as seriously as they should. So with that, I want to introduce Miguel Lloyd, who is an expert. And Miguel, I'll stop sharing mine, and then you can go ahead and share. So welcome.
Well, hey, thank you so much. And great insight when you start talking about, down here in Georgia. Originally, I'm from Virginia, of course, which others may not. When I got down here to Georgia and kids went back to school at the beginning of August, that was foreign to me because, of course, up north, we go back to school usually halfway through September, after Labor Day. Mm-hmm. And so everything you're talking about right now, and how things are pacing, how things are opening back up in New Jersey, summer camp starting in July, our kids almost be ready to figure out if we're going to send them back to school by then. So it's going to be interesting, but thank you so much. I appreciate everybody. Once again, as Dale mentioned, my name is Miguel Lloyd. And so my company is Lloyd Media Group. I'm based here in the Atlanta, Georgia market. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about marketing, but we're going to talk specifically, we're going to talk about marketing strategies for small businesses, but we're going to talk specifically about social media and how to build your social presence. Because in this day and age, we have to continue to run our businesses. And as we see what is going on currently, you just have to be able to be nimble. And so what we know with what we're doing here with these events, this event is happening every Friday. I'm on webinars and events and Zooms, 3 or 4 times a week because this is the new normal. So we might as well get used to it. And so hopefully today I'm going to try to help you out with that a little bit. Hopefully we'll open the floor and have a few questions on how we can implement some of this stuff in our business strategies. Wonderful. So as we talked about, we're going to talk about building your social presence. Let's start off and talk about the history of modern communication. So most of us on this call remember what this is, right? Remember when actually television used to go off And you know, at the end of the day, 2 o'clock in the morning, we get the national anthem and the eagle flying, and TV would turn off. But you know, and then some of us who remember some of these apparatuses, the TV, the computer, the answering machine. But in this day, and even that long thing with that red cord there called a telephone that came out of your wall. Well, you know, when we look at where we are today, all of those are in these phones that we carry around in our pockets now. We have the ability to be touched and to touch people at an amazing rate that as marketers, it is something that really has changed the game tremendously over the course of the last 10 to 15 years. All content is now digital. Dale mentioned in his presentation earlier, he told you about all the platforms where he can be reached, where the organization can be reached via YouTube, Facebook, but you name it now. We're at a point now where all of this content that we want to watch, you know, a lot of people are becoming cord cutters because the bottom line is we went from clicking the remote to being and chasing clickbait. And so that's who we are. Everybody's trying to reach us now. And so as we are as consumers, we need to learn how to operate as business leaders and take advantage of that as well in the way our business practices are. So let's talk about influencers. So, you know, you look at some of the people here on our screen. We've got The Rock, we've got Taylor Swift, Kim Kardashian, LeBron James, Gary Vee, who a lot of us in the business community know who Gary Vee is. All of these folks have an incredible ability to reach millions of people simply by picking up their phone. And it's simply, you know, one thing people I think people are learning more and more now. Kevin Hart and The Rock aren't the biggest movie stars in the world because they make amazing movies. Their movies are okay. They're entertaining, they're fun. But what they are incredible marketers. These two guys are really, really solid marketers. People wonder why when a movie comes out, why they're making the circuit and they're on every television show, Entertainment Tonight, and doing a lot of more YouTube videos, more TikTok videos, more of these type of things, because that's how they use their talent to touch as many people as they can. LeBron James has used basketball for the last 20 years to make an incredible impact, sell a lot of shoes, but now he's in position, having moved to LA, to be so impactful when it comes down to marketing and media. He's creating great content that is being distributed all over the world. Kim Kardashian, who started off, you know, early on and has turned that influence into 164 million followers on Twitter, on Instagram, and having the ability to affect the legal justice, the justice system going forward. It's not about having the ability to be an influencer, because obviously people all have great influence and great reach, but it's all about what you do with that. And so some of you guys may be looking at me and they said, okay, Miguel, oh, yeah, I'm not The Rock. I'm not 6'5", 270 pounds of granite. And no, that's not me either, guys. I know I may look a little, but that's not me either, right? So let's take, for example, D Nice. Now, I'm a old school hip hop guy. Some of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s might remember him when he looked like this. He's really a one-hit wonder guy. He had one great song, Call Me D Nice. Incredible song back in 1989 or 90. I followed him. He was a photographer primarily, DJ. He was doing pretty well. Well, when everything hit, when everybody got quarantined, he just decided he was going to start to go on his Instagram feed and just play music and be the DJ that he is via Instagram. He went from 200,000 followers to the following week of having 1.8 million. I haven't looked at his followers here recently, but simply by turning on the music, and he did a great job of, if he saw someone come into his comments, if it was Janet Jackson, he would play great Janet Jackson music. People would love it. Oh, Janet's in the room. Oh, Janet, let me play some of her favorite hits. And it just worked. Was the sound great? Sure, it was okay. Was the experience amazing? It was okay. You're watching a guy play music, but it's music, right? And what he did was he had the ability to reach people, and he grew his influence from 200,000 people to almost 2 million in the span of about 2 weeks, simply by doing what he does best. When you look in this in the right-hand corner with the sketch of him, the artwork, when he's pointing, he was actually pointing to the ticker on his feed at the time. It hit 100,000 people that were on his stream at that very moment. And so he asked someone, say, hey, someone get a screenshot of this, send it to me. And next thing you know, this particular image was all over the internet. And so when we talk about, somebody will say, okay, well, I'm not D-Nice. I'm not that big either. Okay, let's look at Miss Karen Hunter. Karen Hunter is one of my favorite, and she's in New Jersey. She's a Jersey girl, right? So Sirius XM radio, she's on channel 126, Sirius XM. She's been on there for a while, but she's also a publisher and done some amazing things in that space. About 4 or 5 years ago, actually, I guess with the 5-year anniversary, with the tragedy that happened in South Carolina, with the church, where the people were murdered in the church, she decided she was going to use her platform to make change. And so, what did she do? She was a part of the petition that went out to the streets and got the flag taken down in the state of South Carolina, from where you guys are. She's sitting in the studio in New York, but because she's a social advocate with her platform, she decided this has to change, and I'm going to do something about it. And so what she did was she used her influence to activate a tremendous market, to put pressure on the politicians in South Carolina, all the way from New Jersey, all the way from New York, and made change all over the country, especially in South Carolina. Because of social media, I honestly believe that these two gentlemen are the most powerful leaders in the history of the world. And I want you guys to follow me. I don't care if you're talking about George Washington, Martin Luther King, you name it, Gandhi, you name it, Hitler. Imagine if Hitler had the ability to pull out his phone and communicate at the drop of a hat back during those times. Now, even today, Barack Obama hasn't been president for 4 years. He still has 115 million. I put this presentation together about a month ago, so the numbers have probably changed. But these guys have tremendous influence. And the reason why they have this level of influence is because they have an incredible ability to contact and reach their base and the rest of the world strictly by pulling out their phones. Now, what is my point? My point is that regardless of what you feel about these two gentlemen on this page, their level of influence cannot be questioned. It took years for Muhammad Ali or Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King to get his message out. It doesn't take that long anymore. And so the point that I'm making is that there's a market for everything and everybody. And so as you're looking at your business, you just have to make sure that you're making genuine connections. Now, what you do with those connections are up to you. Depending on what you're selling, depending on what you're marketing, but depending on what you believe in, you have the ability to make these genuine connections, and that's what's something that is super important. So let's talk about social media. Let's talk about first is backup. Let's talk about different types of media, owned, earned, and paid media. When we start talking about the different types of media and how they converge. Now we're going to focus strictly on social today, but owned media are outlets that you can create, leverage, and control. Now, we were talking earlier, Jonathan and I were talking before we came on, with all the mergers that are going on back and forth, and it doesn't matter the industry. I don't care if you are in the waste management business or in the media business or in the banking business. It's kind of hard to really grow and scale and be independent in this day and age. And so when we talk about owned media, we're going to talk about what exactly is owned media, because at this point, it's hard to determine what it owns. But these are things that you do own. Your website, mobile application you build for your business, newsletters, flyers, t-shirts, hats. Those are things that you can control in the small to mid-sized business in comparison to some of the larger mediums that are out there. These are a few mediums that I'm on. So the question is, do we own these mediums? The question is, do we own these mediums? And the truth is, no, we don't. We manage them. We don't own Facebook. We don't own Instagram, Twitter. We all probably have some friends and family, or we've seen some things online where people have gotten in Facebook jail. They've been shut out of these mediums. One question I hear when our clients will ask us all the time, because one of the services we provide is we help people to stream and do presentations like the one you're seeing here. And people say, well, hey, can we stream to Instagram? Well, that's against Instagram's terms of service. And if Instagram decides that you've made enough noise with that, then all of a sudden they shut your account down. All the time you built time to build up that audience, you could possibly lose strictly by not following the rules that they have instituted. And so we don't own these mediums, we manage them. what we do own is the influence that we have. And so as we're looking at the level of influence that we have, let me see make sure that question in the chat is not directed to me. And is there a way to please? Oh, okay. All right. Do you want to make the screen full screen? I don't know if you guys can handle that on your end.
Well, what you can do is actually put speaker view on. So all you see is the speaker. And so it is pretty full screen if you do that. Yes,
and that's to the only, and that's interesting that you bring that up, because one of the reasons why we offer this service to clients is because that is a end user thing. So as he mentioned, you have an option, like right now I'm looking at all 5 of the panelists, but you can go to speaker view, whoever has that question, and you'll be able to just see just me speaking when I'm speaking, unless anyone else is unmuted. So great point, Dale. So as we mentioned, let me go back to the previous slide. So we own what we do with our influence on social media, and that is no matter the size of your influence. Yeah, you're not someone who's got 117 million followers like Barack Obama. Who else is, right? Did he, I'm pretty sure between himself and maybe Beyonce, he's probably got the most followers of anybody in the world. But if you have your 2,000 followers and you are a business right there in New Jersey that's serving a community in a small town in New Jersey and everyone knows you, you can use this medium, no matter the size, to market your products and services. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But remember, as I mentioned, the rules are always changing. I wrote this blog a few years back, and this stuff, the numbers are a little old. But here's the point. People ask me the question, why is it when I post on social media, why do I post on Facebook, the same 15 or 20 people are commenting on my post? The truth is that Facebook is a very passively aggressive company. They let you believe that you've got all this reach and you can do you put this together, amazing posts, you post it on social media, everybody's just going to run to it. If you notice, there's a difference between the way people respond to your social, family, just regular social media posts in comparison to when you're marketing a product or a service. And that's on purpose. Facebook knows, the algorithms know. There are people who are getting shut out of Facebook, especially now with the heightened scrutiny that they're experiencing with the political season. And so the point is that Facebook, when it's all said and done, is a paid medium. Going back to the example of D Nice that we talked about earlier. Now, as I mentioned, he went from whatever it was, 200,000 followers to 1.8 million followers in a couple of weeks. Well, what happened? The record company said, uh-oh, DJs, you're not paying us to do this. You're making money off of us. We're going to shut you down. We're going to go to Instagram. We're going to say, don't let them do that because they're not paying us to do that. Well, for people who are in the industry, DJs, if that was the case, then when DJs DJ at a club or whatever, you think there will be a problem. Well, most of the time, those nightclubs, they have licenses, BMI licenses to play the music. To me, it doesn't make sense if I'm a record company because my records are being exposed. People are still going to benefit from it. But what happened was that, once again, D Nice used a platform he did not own, gained a tremendous amount of influence, and immediately the red flags came up. Social media is a paid marketing medium. That's what the truth is. We are the audience. If anybody ever tells you that eventually Facebook is going to charge you to be on their platform, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because we are the audience. They're selling data. And Dale, feel free to jump in if you have any questions or comments.
I do have a question because that's very interesting about Facebook, because if I put something silly up, I get a lot of responses. If I put something like about this, so you're saying Facebook really that adjusts it, so you don't get responses.
Absolutely, Facebook muzzles your post. Their rationale is, if you got 2,000 followers and every time someone posts, you saw their post, there's no way you can keep up.
Right.
So the rationale on that side makes sense. But if I post something about this event, not as many people are going to see it because obviously this is a business event that we have and there's a potential commerce coming through. But what will happen is that they'll say, oh, this post has the potential of reaching 85% more of your followers if you give us $10. Right. So it's very passive. It's a very passive sale. And most people say, hey, what is $10? What is $20? And there was a time where with Facebook, you would pay for that immediately. Now they bill you monthly. Mm. Right. And so for people who have bought any sort of Facebook, raise your hand. Let us know that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Look like there's a question in the chat. Jennifer, which social media platform is good to start with, Facebook or Instagram or other? What you actually, Jennifer, later on is coming in. I'm going to talk about the different demographics of those. Great question. So let me get back so we can get to that particular slide.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So know your audiences. And I think it might be coming up right now. Yep. Demographics of, so perfect timing, Jennifer. Let's look at the demographics of the different social mediums. So Facebook, 75% female, 63% male, 75% of all females, 63% of all males are on Facebook. When you start to look at the age demographic, it's really between 18 to 64 where the bulk of the folks are. Education is pretty even across the board. Income level pretty even across the board. Pretty much everybody's on Facebook. The only people who aren't on Facebook are people who are under the age of 18 to 20, where my daughter lives and where she says, "Daddy, I will never get on Facebook."
My daughter too. So yeah.
Right. They say that's where the old people are. I'm not coming over there with you because I know you're there. So I'm not coming over there. I'm going to the TikTok party. I'm not coming to the Facebook party. So we look at Instagram. Instagram, 43% of all women, 31% of all males. As you can tell, it's a little bit younger. The skews 13 to 17, 18 to 29, and starts to taper off when you get past the age of 49 years old. Urban, suburban, a little bit more city. Education levels pretty even. Twitter, Twitter's interesting. Twitter's been struggling a little bit because it's a certain type of medium, right? A lot of us stay away from Twitter. The numbers are not as strong, but it's still extremely powerful medium because it's one of the granddaddies of that deal. LinkedIn, as many of us here are probably very active on LinkedIn. That prime job search age of 30 to 49 years old. You see that's what a larger number is, where 37% of all people 30 to 49 are active on LinkedIn. Pretty even, a little bit more skews, a little bit more male than female. Urban to suburban is very, very similar. Of course, it will make sense that there's a lot more folks with college degrees that are on LinkedIn. When we look at Pinterest is a medium for people who are in the retail space. People do not use Pinterest as much as they should. Pinterest is a good medium, and it's not as expensive as some of the others because a lot of people don't look at Pinterest as being what it is. If you are selling products, if you are in the restaurant business, or you're selling a book or anything that is visual, as you can see, very highly skewed towards a female market. The age range anywhere between 18 to 50 are very strong, all the way up to 65. Doesn't matter, or if you're in the city, in the suburbs, or in the country, all very strong. Look at the household income. $75,000 and above, 41% are on Pinterest. So Pinterest is a little bit more of a boutique feel, right? Pinterest is a little bit more where you look at it. If you say, what's my snapshot? A snapshot of a Pinterest person is going to be in the age between 30 and 65 years old, a woman who makes pretty good money and is well educated. That sounds like a pretty good market.
Miguel, and
yes,
so
sir.
as you think about, so let's target to start the restaurants, and,
yes.
and so I'm a restaurant, I'm about to open up. I hadn't done much marketing. You're saying Pinterest is good for restaurants. You can answer this now or answer before, but
yeah, absolutely. Pinterest is a great place for a restaurant, especially. And here's the thing about restaurants: people who are ready, who are already doing to-go orders, people who are already selling recipes. They were already in better position than folks who, we've had this experience. These restaurants said, I don't want to do this to-go stuff. You don't want to be in business in 2020 and beyond. Right. Because your capacity, even when people start to get comfortable coming back out, you're not going to reach the capacity that you were used to when you had those Friday nights and there was a 2-hour wait and your restaurant was full. Yeah, you can have a 2-hour wait, but the capacity of your restaurant is smaller. So if you want to showcase that experience, Pinterest is a great way to do that visually, in addition to Instagram, where you can do videos and things. And then, of course, now everybody's into the live broadcast. But Pinterest is a great way to do visuals. But you got to have a great photographer. You know, you want to have a great photographer that can take care of those great images, and you can use that as a tool.
And so the ad for again, now let's bring it to the basics, because
Sure.
we have a lot of restaurants. So how do you go about, you get a Pinterest account, you go about, how does that work, and how do you lay it out, or how would you advise they lay it out if I'm a restaurant?
Yeah, so I would definitely, it would be a place I would showcase my menu. Definitely showcase your loss leader item. If you got the best wings in town, you know, showcase those wings. Get a nice photographer to take some amazing pictures of it. You know, if you wanted to kind of give them some insight on the secret sauce, we have a good friend of ours who's an amazing caterer here in Atlanta. A brother by the name of Juan Montier, Shea Montier and he says, I don't have a problem giving them images or giving them the recipe because they can't make it the way I can. And that's okay, right? Because, you know, ultimately the goal is, if you have the, you know, if you want to get into prepared foods, you want to send stuff out, you know, my favorite Thai restaurant up the street, I can go get the recipe all day long. It's not going to taste the way they do, the way it tastes for them. Yeah. So yeah, so great imagery, getting a nice photographer to take take those pictures and sell the lifestyle. Pinterest is very much like a lifestyle. It's a magazine.
Well, now how do you get it to? Can you email it? Now how do you get you have a Pinterest page? Yeah. I have a restaurant. How do I get it to people who aren't on Pinterest? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, you can email it, but of course, just like all the other mediums, once you email that link, if you put it in your newsletter, they're going to want them to start a Pinterest account. That's how they get them into their community. But yes, you can send that link. And the great thing about Pinterest is that Pinterest likes to grab images from your existing website. Okay. So you'll have an image and you'll have a link where people can get more information, and then that will take them directly to the website, which will be outside of Pinterest, and Pinterest is totally all right with that.
Interesting. Is there a cost for Pinterest? Is there a cost to join Pinterest? Or?
No, there's no cost to join any of these social mediums because they all sell advertising. Right. They all sell advertising within the platform.
Right. And so you can and I'm asking these basic questions because you've been how many folks say, okay, I have a website. That's all I need. Yeah. You know, that's where people go. So as we talk about the restaurants, because they're the ones who've been struggling. They've been hurt the most. Yes. What some of your client, what are you advising some of the restaurants to do, you know, as they're thinking about the marketing going forward?
That's a great question. One thing, they need to stop fighting the fact that this is the new normal. Right. The new normal, I don't care what type of restaurant you have, the new normal is that people are going to want to order to go. They're going to want to go. I had clients who, you know, and friends I was advising, they didn't want to be on DoorDash because they didn't like the fees. They didn't like to be on Uber Eats because of the fees or Postmates. Here's the thing. You are in the food business. You can't put chicken on sale and resell it 6 days later like you can sneakers. You got to sell that food or you're going to lose a lot of money. Right. So if I go on my local DoorDash, Uber Eats, wherever, and say, okay, what am I in the mood for today? I need to make sure that I'm in that community where people can respond and get some of that food out of my refrigerator into my fryers and out of those boxes and out the door. And I've got restaurants in our community that I love, that I'm so disappointed that they're not back open, but the restaurants that the food is just okay, they're the ones that ran right back out there and got right back into business. Mm-hmm. And so it's a little bit of it. So if I were to give some advice to restaurant owners, you know, if you are the type that said, you know, you got a little bit of higher end, you know, you got 3-4 stars and you don't want to really be perceived, you got to make a decision. You know, there was a time when, and I'm not sure, I haven't looked at the ownership rotations recently, but at one time, McDonald's owned Ruth Chris. So, and I don't know if you guys have Ruth Chris steakhouses in New Jersey up top.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So McDonald's owned Ruth Chris. So you bring out those amazing steaks and those 500-degree plates, great experience, but those 99-cent hamburgers were backdooring and supporting that beautiful $100 steak. So restaurants like that, in order to stay in the business, they got to find a happy medium with that experience to make sure that they're staying in business. So many restaurants right now have been slow to it. They may have gotten their PPP money, and they haven't really used that in a way that will get people back in the door. As people are coming back out into the marketplace, before then, they still need to be in the business where they're dropping food off of people's doors. And that's the problem I think a lot of restaurant owners have had. Some people just have not adjusted to the time.
So that's restaurants. Now retail. So I'm on the Main Street committee. So the Main Street, the retail's coming back. You know, what have you seen? What are some of the more innovative things you've seen out there for the retail marketing?
Yeah, it's definitely curbside.
Curbside.
I've said for years that anybody in retail, I don't care if it's the mom and pop boutique or Walmart, you got to get to the point that your stores, your retail location is really a warehouse in your community. It just makes sense, right? Because if you have all this space and you're not online and you don't have e-commerce in your marketing plan, then you're really putting yourself behind the 8 ball. Because now, even as we get back out into the world, here's the thing. What has this pandemic done to us what this pandemic has done is it has escalated the pacing of what was already happening. Everybody was going to e-commerce.
Right.
People were inching along, and now we're all used to it. With the stores opening, we've been open back up here in Georgia since early May. For the most part, when you walk into any of these retail locations, they don't have the stuff in stock.
Right.
It's not there.
Right.
Right. So what are they telling you? And I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3". The 2XL stuff, nobody has.
Right. Right.
So I might as well go back home, grab my phone, order it online, and have it sent to the house. So anybody who is in retail, you have to position yourself now. You have Square, you have Shopify, you have WooCommerce. You have the ability to take that same inventory, put it on your website, and sell it. And actually, from a logistics standpoint, if you learn that process and manage it well, you can cut your costs because you're not having a lot of stuff sitting on your shelf, taking up space, and you're waiting to have to put it on sale. Hey,
Right.
if you know that you're selling 10 of these this week, you order 12, you sell those 10, and then if you sell 12 every week, all of a sudden you increase your inventory to 15 or whatever. You can monitor that much better than it was when you just got a big old box of t-shirts and all of a sudden 6 months later you got that bin everybody's digging through and you got a sale tag on it. And so from a logistics standpoint, that's something, and you probably know some people in the logistics space, that's a game changer. That is the game changer. But some people are just moving way too slow to make those adjustments.
To make them. Now, Tony Russo, the president of CIA&J, is one of our partners here. And Tony, any questions that you've heard from your members about marketing or anything?
No, thanks, Dale. And Miguel, great information. I mean, you hit the mark right on the head. I guess the question for you, because so many of our members now, and we represent all business sectors, a lot of them are all working remotely. What would you say about traditional mail and marketing the old-fashioned way? And for example, we produced a business magazine, and we just digitized it last month.
Yeah.
And we also print it, but would you give a thumbs up on traditional mail as a way to market?
So you're talking to an old school radio guy. And so, I'm going to lean towards electronic media. But the problem with digital mail, when I got out of the radio business 15 years ago, when they were saying that there was an average return of anywhere between 1% and 3% then on that mail, there's pros and cons to it all, right? There really are. I'm not saying, I think all mediums work if you dominate that medium and you're very consistent. I'm just not a big fan of what I think is waste. And I can just, I can look on my desk right now and see stuff that was mailed to me that I'm just like, they're going to mail me 5 more of these in the next 3 weeks. And I'm still not going to buy anything. Yeah. But what's going to happen with me is that if I'm on someone's email list and I get those emails of Bed Bath & Beyond and I'm ready to go buy some towels, I'm just going to go to my email. But it depends on your market. So I guess I'm kind of dancing around it. I'm not a huge fan of direct mail because of the cost that's associated with it. But what I also understand is that in small communities and for a demographic 45 plus, it really works. And so I had an experience. My wife happens to be a regional manager for JCPenney's. And so about 2 years ago, there was a digital coupon campaign that her region did. It worked well, but it was done via text messaging and the coupons were digital. And imagine if that becomes the norm, which it has become, how much that's saving you in cost. Because everybody's got a phone, everybody's receiving text messages, everybody's got their phone in their pocket. I'm not walking around with this in my pocket.
Yeah, and I mean, I could appreciate it. I don't know if you covered it, but email marketing, right?
Yeah.
Example, again, last month we spent considerable resources to digitize our magazine, and it went into a lot of people's clutter and junk mail. And so I think information everybo's on information overload.
They are. Email is still strong, but to your point, the email platforms are cutting a lot of that out. What's been more successful or gaining ground is text messaging. The text message process, and then what you do is you link it back to your website. Ultimately, the goal is to link people back to where you can control how the information is disseminated to them, which should be on your website. Once you get them there, you can upsell them to whatever it is you're trying to sell them, because now you got them in your community.
Yeah, no, good point. Thank you.
Good question. But so let me bring it down some. So the text messages, I mean, that's great. I mean, I tell my friends to text me because I don't get emails. I get so many emails. How do you make that work? How do you make the text messages? How do you get it? You ask people for it? What's the process that Tony might use for text messaging?
Yeah, so, there's an opt-in process, normally, whether you're using MailChimp or Constant Contact or Infusionsoft, some of these other mail services, you can have the phone number and you give people that text option. Here's the thing, people don't want so much to have their phone ring, but they'll check a text message. Yeah. I think the last number I saw was about 85% of all text messages are opened. Mm-hmm. That number is nowhere close when it comes down to email. Right. Now, mind you, if you spam them, then eventually they'll block you. But as long as you're giving them great information and it's not obvious that you're just spamming them to death. Here's the thing. People love free information. If you are in the finance space and you are helping people with information on how to get the PPP loan or that's the type of stuff that people say, oh, I like these people. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, when you have a small sales message there, they may click on that link, and then you have an opportunity to engage. Right. You even think about it now. Who of us here would have thought we would ever have the ability to get a big old huge coin and go in a parking lot and go get your car out of a vending machine? Right? Like whose imagination came up with that? And now Carvana has turned the used car business on its ear. The whole standpoint of coming at someone as a used car salesman and just going hard with people, it doesn't work like it used to. People don't want to be sold. They have access to incredible amounts of information. And so by the time they come through, they know what their finance rate is. They know how much what size of car that they can buy. You're really just almost, you're just making a transaction for the most part. Right. in that scenario. So everything works. You have to be consistent. But here's what we know as marketers. It's not like it was when I was in the radio business. We had to wait 90 days to get the numbers to tell us how effective a radio station was doing. Right. Folks come out here, they do campaigns, hashtag, okay, I can study this and say, I had to return a click rate on this particular campaign, and we're going to do that again almost in real time. Right.
We have a question about text messaging with B2B, business to business.
Yes.
Does it work as well for that, or is it really more a retail thing with text messages?
No, it can work B2B, but in the B2B scenario, you have to be willing to give, and then receive. Mm-hmm. We as business people, we're all pretty savvy, right? We're selling, so we know when we're being sold. So then you have to say, okay, if I'm a business person and I'm a banker and I wanted to sell potential loan products, then I need to share information and then help people to make a decision, not just sell them just outright. So when it comes down to business and texting, I'll be honest with you, it works better in retail because it's transactional. 40% off of dinner tonight. Perfect. I'm in the mood for Italian. Sure, I'll take 40% off my dinner tonight. But you say 40% off of a loan and you're like, what's the catch? Right. Immediately, because we've done enough home loans and car loans or whatever and said that number doesn't look right. You're trying to get me in, rope me in. You see what I'm saying? So from a standpoint of answering the question, yes, text messaging can work in a B2B, but I would really recommend it be a little bit more of a educational, informational, preparing them to come to an event like this, where you're really teaching them something and showing them why you can bring value to their particular community or their family.
Excellent.
Can I ask another question, Dale?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Tony, yeah.
You know, just I'll be curious, Miguel, your take on the day of the week that's ideal to send out a campaign and the time of the day.
Yeah, we actually, my partner, we have a program called Reset Sales and Marketing, and we talk about that. When is the best time to do webinars? Now, right now with COVID, we're all home. but before we were all locked in, you know, it's usually a Tuesday through Thursday, anywhere between having your webinars between 10 and 1.
Okay.
To whatever time zone that you're in. For example, if you are in Jersey and you do have some clients that are in LA, you don't want to have your webinars at 8 in the morning. It's 5 in the morning for them. You know, so if you have a webinar at 2 for them, that's 11. Now that might be close to lunch, right? But right now, you know, people are home and they're pretty responsive. You'd be surprised. Evening events are working pretty good too.
Right.
I've seen a lot of folks that, you know, with my organization and then also the organizations I serve in, with the Atlanta Black Chambers and the 100 Black Men of Atlanta, we do events in the evening that actually are well attended as well, and they're informative. Because, hey, there's nothing good on television. There's no new, we're tired of watching all those terrible movies on Netflix, and so let's get informed.
And I thought a few of our members that were on the insurance side did something interesting where they brought a musician in and had a couch concert, and it was a good way to market their brand. You know, it was after work hours, and they had about 90 people, which it was on a Friday night.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. What else are we doing right now?
Right.
You know, it's literally, I was talking, and Jennifer's on the line. We had a quick conversation earlier. When your office is in your home, you don't know when to leave the office.
You're working longer hours.
Yeah, so when you have an event from 6 to 8 in the evening, that's the normal afternoon drive time commute that we were used to. And so you still have the energy to still engage. And to your point, we have these happy hour networking events that we've done virtually that I've been participated in, and they've been amazing. We've had DJs that have connected in. I had one guy who owns a restaurant in the Atlanta area, and he served as a DJ, and at the same time, he was DJing from his establishment. So now that he's back open for business, where's our community going to go? We're going to go to his restaurant because of the fact that we've been exposed to it, and we want to get back out. I haven't been back over there yet, but I'm not ready. My family, we're not ready.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions? This is great. I'm having a blast.
Yeah, so things like Hootsuite, you know, again, I'm trying to make it sure, because you'd be amazed, and I have to tell the audience, I mean, I know New Jersey very well. I know Atlanta very well. Atlanta is so far ahead in innovative things, and like Carvana, I never even heard of.
Oh, really?
I don't think we have that in Jersey. Maybe I'm wrong, but but there are other things down there that have that. So what's Hootsuite, and what are things like Hootsuite, and how do people use that, and RSS feed? You know, how do you stuff?
So Hootsuite is the ability for you to manage all your social media with one. I personally, with my team, we use Buffer, but it's similar. Hootsuite, Buffer. It's the ability for you to post to various social mediums simultaneously, and it is also a great way for you to measure the results.
Okay.
One thing you'll find, guys, that video has a 4 to 5 times better impact than still imagery, and then that much better than just text. If you are in a position where you just don't like to do video, find somebody else in your company that can do it, because video is so important right now. Make sure your video, and I'm only looking at the 2 guys' pictures I see here. We're of a certain age where, you know, we had a longer attention span.
That's right.
People don't have long attention spans now. Every time you open up your phone, there's some 2 or 3 minute video of a cat dancing or something else that has caught your attention. So if you have a video that's longer than 4 or 5 minutes, it better be very compelling, or you better put your message on the front end, because people are not going to see the whole thing.
So what should it be? A 1 minute video, or what do you say?
So anything under 1 minute, like for example, Instagram, anything under 1 minute, you can just post straight to Instagram. If it's beyond 1 minute, then you have to post it to IGTV. So everybody's not going to click over to IGTV. So I'm always looking at it from a consumer standpoint. How much patience does a consumer have for me? Not the people in my face who love me. It's the people who I want to get to know no, they're not going to watch a 3-minute video of you unless it's really good. Right. So, I produced, helped some clients produce a marriage series about 2 years ago. And they wanted to do a 6-part series on marriage. They laid it all out. It was amazing. We had a blast. We shot it in 2 days. But I told them, there's not going to be any segment that's going to be longer than 7 minutes. They said, why, Miguel? I said, because you're going to have the ability to chop this up in segments. And if you want to use one segment of this to put out on social media to sell the rest of the package, then that's what we're going to do. If you guys talk consecutively for 20 minutes, you're going to lose people unless it is really, really compelling content. Now, that was 2 years ago. And it used to be a time we would say, we would look at this stuff and 3 to 4 year old data was cool. 3 to 4 year old data in this day and age, Dale, you just showed some data that was from last month. Right. Because it's available. And so now if we look at the way we're so inundated with 1 and 2 and 3 minute videos that will consume our day. Imagine you're trying to get somebody to sit down there and watch 20 minutes. Now, the psychology of it all is we're also in a culture of binge watching. Right. So it's kind of a swing of a pendulum, right? You got everybody who's all inundated with these 1 and 2 minute videos, but then some people sit down for a whole weekend and watch all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. It's so your content has got to be dynamic to get people's attention for that long. But on average, if you've got a marketing message, you've got to be focused on short clips, short bites that's going to feed into mediums you control, which would be your website, things of that nature.
So let me ask another question, because you often feel like you're being stalked. If you go on a website and you I looked up, some Roger Federer tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Every time I go on, on Gmail, they're sending me tennis shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're being stalked. You're being stalked. Yeah.
You are.
It's called search retargeting. It's a service that we offer. We don't do a lot of it. We should do more. But yeah, you're being stalked. Yeah. If you go to Amazon and you click on that microphone, like I'll do sometime for equipment, then all of a sudden everywhere I go on the web, that same microphone is popping up, Facebook, Instagram, until I make a decision or until I say, stop sending me that ad. I'm not ready to buy. Right. Yep, you're being stalked. So yeah, that's normal.
Another question. So, everybody has Gmail now, and you have Gmail. And so you go into Gmail, you Google Chrome, and then these ads popping in. Is that, and it's annoying. I mean, I don't know why they do that, because I'm not going to buy from anybody that does that. Is there any marketing benefit of that
Well, yeah, it's a marketing benefit in that eventually you're going to relent is what finally you're just going to say, all right, what is it you're selling? Me personally, I just have this thing about Google. I think they're just too aggressive. Right. They make you get a Gmail account. There's some websites that won't work or they only work on Chrome. Right. Stuff that's just like, okay, dude, I'm trying to make I want to make my own decisions on how I want to move. So yeah, Google will, and I still have a Yahoo email address that I never check. Anytime there's a spam person who's I always give them that address, because if I feel like seeing your stuff, I'll go over there and look at that email address. But the stuff that really means something to me, you'll never get that email address because you're not going to flood my inbox.
Right. So explain again. So we'll go back to the Hootsuite or what? Now, how does that work? So you said that manages your social media. How would someone who's just getting into it, how does that work? How would they use that for their marketing?
Sure. So what it really do is really like a repository. So here's a couple things you can do with a Hootsuite, with a Buffer, the one that I use. You can schedule them. Mm-hmm. You can monitor how great it was people responded to. You can go back through there and say, hey, let me go post that again. Right. right? You can make decisions on whether or not you want to post it to your feed, or in the case of Instagram or Facebook, to your feed or your story, because there's a difference and there's a strategy to that. The good thing about it for people who are data people, it's something you can really gauge and say, okay, I posted this particular video about, you know, a certain type of loan, and people really responded because the climate was good for that. Right. Now, all of a sudden, if you got an ad you created right now and you're in the money business and you're going to help people get the PPP loans, but then you repost that in the middle of July, it's not timely because the deadline is passed. Right. And some people will get a little lazy and they'll automate the process and then look up. I see it all the time. You know, it'll be an ad, a Christmas ad that's running in March. Mm-hmm. Like, you did not send, and here's the thing, here's a little nugget, guys. Unless you got a really good salesperson at your local television station, radio station, wherever, they don't care. If you send them some bad creative, they're not in the business of your creative. They're in the business of making sure they're hitting their numbers every month. Right. So if you got a bad creative and that sale is done, unless you got a really good sales guy, like, you know, my sales manager didn't really like me because I'm just not going to sell people stuff that doesn't work. Okay, I got $5,000 for this particular ad campaign. And my question would be, okay, so what's the purpose? What, you know, what are you trying to do here? My sales managers would be like, who cares? Get the money. I always was about, hey, I wanted to work for my client. I guess this is why I'm an entrepreneur, because I wasn't really good at having somebody telling me go sell somebody some bad meat and who cares, right? That's just not the way I operate. Right. So the social media, the Hootsuite, the Buffers, all these guys, they help you to really know what works instead of you just kind of shooting in the dark. And that's the biggest thing. You don't want to shoot in the dark. You want to have a plan. You want to have a methodology to what you're doing, and these platforms will help you do that. Now, mind you, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, they'll give you some basic information in their own platforms as well. They don't want you using Hootsuite and Buffer and these. They want you to use everything for them. We can provide everything for you. That's the reason why Facebook will buy companies and put them on the shelf, because they buy them for the technology, ramp them into what they're already doing, and they put these guys out of business, write them $1 billion check and say, go bye-bye. Right. Now, go ahead.
And again, I mean, this is great, and we're going to have you back because this is I know this. I know people are learning. I'm learning a lot. Yeah. So you have a retail restaurant. You know your local customers, right? Mm-hmm. So you have their email addresses and so on. How do you make sure you're doing something that attracts you? Say you're in Montclair, New Jersey. How do you do something to attract the people in that area? I mean, is there any trick to that before we go?
Absolutely. So you have the email address. If you have their cell phone numbers, you can do geo-targeted advertising. Okay. You can do, if you're in a restaurant in Montclair, New Jersey, you want to advertise to the people who live in a 10 to 15 mile radius of your business, you can do that. That's something we can help you with. But you want to constantly stay in front of them. Now, you know, the restaurant business, I think it's okay to be a little bit more aggressive with couponing and things, because it's an impulse buy. Right. I don't feel like cooking tonight. All of a sudden, I got this text message at 4:45 that says, you don't feel like cooking tonight? Here, you know, here's a 20% discount for our pizza tonight, right? Here's the great thing about that. If you are in the restaurant business, and this week, it is no different than the way restaurants have done over the years. Why do restaurants say, okay, what is your special of the day? The special of the day is based on, I may have gotten too much fish today, and all of a sudden, now this fish is the special of the day. Because in 48 hours or 24 hours, it's got to go. So I'm going to sell it at a good price. Here's the thing. You can put a campaign out immediately. If you know people love to come to your restaurant on a Thursday night, 11 a.m., 11 p.m. or 11 a.m., 1 p.m. on that afternoon, you look in your refrigerator and said, we got a lot of chicken left. We need to get an ad out really quick. Now, you got to have somebody who knows what they're doing. Right. You know, who can put some creative together for you real quick and get it out. But for the most part, obviously, you don't want to fly by the seat of your pants like that. But it happens. It happens. Sometimes you got to put stuff on sale because if you don't want to lose money. You want to make sure that you are moving that product.
Well, and again, these things go so quickly. How do people get in touch with you, Miguel? If you're in Atlanta, but you still will work with people.
Absolutely.
How do they connect with you?
Absolutely. My email address is Miguel, and I'll put it in the chat, Miguel@LloydMediaGroup.net. Okay. My website is LloydMediaGroup.net.
Okay.
And then I don't think I have. I may have. Let me look on here. I think I have a slide with my contact information on it. Let's see. And I'm glad we. I love to get into dialogue more than just talking. Okay, so this here's my contact information on LinkedIn. That's my buddy, my business partner, Robbie Golry. We do these reset sales and marketing events, and we did a 6-module web series on this. I can drop you guys a link in that if you guys want to get access to that content. Now, I'm a little biased because I gotta drop back. I gotta bring this picture in now. This content actually is a little old, but it is on our website. This is my wife, Tracy Lloyd. Tracy is and she actually is in here off screen. So you can just say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
Right here, you know.
Good to see
But she's pretty amazing. So if you ever wanted to have someone who has ran multi-million-dollar operations, right now she's the district manager for all the JCPenney's in the state of Georgia. Military chick. She went to school up there near you guys, a little school called West Point Military Academy, USMA. So she's pretty dope. I kind of married up, guys. If you,
you're honest.
So if you ever wanted to, she's got this presentation, Big Box Operations for Everyday Businesses. If you guys are interested in hearing her do that presentation, she'd be available for that as well. So yeah, so that's the way to reach me. I would love to help you with anything, and whether it be social media, overall just marketing strategy. If you want to get into some media planning and buying, I've got 25 years experience in that space, and I would love to be able to help you guys. Yeah. But rest assured, with us, we so care so much about our clients. It's not just about just churning. Okay, it is. When anybody ever asks me, well, how much does it cost to do X? I kind of exhale first because I'm not good at just saying what you're asking for is going to cost X, because that's just not the way that it works in the marketing space.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
not. I need to know what you need, what you're trying to accomplish before I start throwing numbers out there. And the bottom line is it's all about making sure we get results for you guys as clients.
Well, man, thanks. We're at time. We try to keep it end it at 1. The one comment I'll leave, they say, great presentation, and you are a smart husband. So
yes, I am.
Well, thank you all very much for coming. Remember, next week we won't have it, but we'll have it the next week. Tony, Jonathan, Justice, Christina, Sue, thank you all very much. Have a wonderful holiday, and I hope this was helpful.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you.
All right.